Om Gananam Sva Ganapatim Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasrevastamam Yeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatana Sranvannutidhisidakadanam Om Shri Mahaganadhipataye Namah Om Vrishabham Chashyaninam Vishvarupamadavyam Drihaspatim Varenyam Om Tadvishno Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suraya Diviva Chakshuratatam Om Ham Hrim Shrim Klim Hasav Jagat Prasuryai Namah. So everybody say after me, Hare Rama Krishna 3 times. Om Hare Rama Krishna, Hare Rama Krishna, Hare Rama Krishna. Okay, welcome back. Happy Sankranti or Happy Pongal to you, to those of you who celebrate it. Just a couple of days back, sun changed from Sagittarius to Capricorn. And that starts the Uttarayan Punyakal basically. This is the northern travel of sun. So this is an auspicious time. What I want to do today is, I want to introduce a new dasha. We've been using Vimshottari dasha so far. And in some charts where some other conditional nakshatra dasha is applicable, we have been using that instead of Vimshottari dasha. But basically, practically, we've been using one dasha. Whether we use Saptadisham dasha or Vimshottari dasha, it's basically a nakshatra dasha, and the way we have interpreted is the same. So practically, so far we've been using one dasha. And the dasha that I'm going to introduce today is a different dasha. It's called Narayana dasha, and this is a Rashi dasha. This is not a nakshatra dasha. In the case of nakshatra dasha, they all start from the nakshatra of moon, and moon is the significator of mind, and nakshatras, they are basically abodes of moon. If you look at the Rashi division of the zodiac and Nakshatra division of the zodiac, the Rashi division is owned by Moon. Moon is the ruler for the concept of Nakshatra, for the concept of dividing the zodiac into 27 Nakshatras. On the other hand, Sun is the Karaka, he is the significator for the concept of dividing the zodiac into 12 signs. And that is why they say that Sun has 12 forms. He has 12 forms called Adityas. There are Dwadasha Adityas, and Sun takes the form of one Aditya in each particular sign of the zodiac. So Sun is the ruler over this particular division of the zodiac, and similarly, just as Sun shows truth, this particular division of the zodiac, it emphasizes truth, the reality. On the other hand, Moon shows the mind and perception, and similarly the Nakshatra division of the zodiac, it focuses on the perception, it focuses on the feelings, mind. So when you look at the nakshatra dashas, like Vimshottari dasha, Saptadishama dasha, etc., that we have been using so far, all those dashas are based on the nakshatra of moon. You start with the nakshatra that moon is in and you progress it. The original nakshatra may be Jupiter's nakshatra, but after a while you progress it into next nakshatra, which is Saturn's nakshatra. So we say that at the beginning Jupiter dasha is running, and then Saturn dasha, and then Mercury dasha, and so on. So basically when you say Jupiter dasha is running or Saturn dasha is running, basically that particular nakshatra, if somebody is born, let's say in Purvabhadra, the first dasha is actually Purvabhadra's nakshatra, Purvabhadra's dasha, not exactly Jupiter dasha. The second dasha is Uttarabhadra's dasha. The third dasha is Revati's dasha, and so on. So you are basically talking about the dashas of various nakshatras. So when as long as you are talking about nakshatras, the focus is on how one feels. So Vimshottari dasha doesn't necessarily have to show what is happening underground. Somebody may be a very successful lawyer, but he may be very unhappy. He may not perceive any success at all during that time when he is considered by others as a successful lawyer. In that case, Vimshottari dasha may not actually show that success. What Vimshottari dasha shows is how you feel, how you react, how you perceive what is happening around you. It is basically what happens in one's life from the vantage point of that person's mind. That is what Vimshottari dasha shows. On the other hand, the dasha that I am going to talk about now, Narayana dasha, it talks about the ground reality. It doesn't care what you think. It doesn't care what people think. It does not care about any of those things. It tells you what is happening on the ground. This tells you what is the ultimate truth at a given point of time. So this is a very important dasha. This is actually, in the parampara that we come from, this is considered the king of all dashas, Narayana dasha. And there are some astrologers who specialize in the teachings of Jaimini. They call it Jaimini astrology, even though, like I pointed out earlier, there is nothing called Parashari astrology and Jaimini astrology. It's just one astrology, and Jaimini simply taught some of the teachings of Parashara in greater detail. But apart from that point, some people who study the teachings of Jaimini, they use a lot of Rashi Dasha, and there is a Dasha called Chara Dasha, which is very popular. If you read astrological books, you will find this name, Chara Dasha, in a few places. And this Narayana Dasha is basically from the Chara Dasha. This is a generalization of the Chara Dasha. This is a more powerful and more generic version of the Chara Dasha. And I will not spend a lot of time telling you how to compute this particular Dasha.
We wanted to do an example on adoption.
Okay, we'll try to do it. We'll try to do it in a later class. But because sun changed sign, I want to start this Narayana Dasha topic. This is an auspicious time, just after sun has changed their sign, especially into Capricorn. So I want to start Narayana Dasha. The way you find Narayana Dasha is, you start from the stronger of Lagna or 7th house. Narayana Dasha is basically the progression of Lagna. You, just like in the case of Vimshotri Dasha, you progress moon's nakshatra. In Narayana Dasha, you progress Lagna's sign. So whatever sign Lagna is in, that is basically your first Dasha. And then there is some way in which you progress it. It doesn't have to be linear. It can be non-linear also. We'll talk about that a little later. But basically you progress the Lagna. So at any given point of time, the Dasha is basically the new Lagna. The Lagna keeps changing in your life every few years. But the trick is, Narayana is different from Vishnu. Narayana is Nirguna, and he can be either in Brahma or in Shiva. It is said that Brahma lives in your Lagna. He is basically creation. He is the Prajapati. And Lagna is your Prajapati. It is your creation, how you are created. It is your very existence. There are so many cells within each person that are dead every day or every minute, and then they are being created again. And that creation process of various cells within your body is done with the strength of Lagna. It is Lagna that is responsible for the strength of your creation. When I say creation, it's not just one creation that happens one time. I'm talking about a continuous process. There is a creation happening within each person continuously, on a continuous basis. A lot of new cells are being born every day, while old cells are dying. So that process is governed by the Lagna. So Lagna in any chart shows the Brahma within you. And similarly, the 7th house of desires, 7th house of marriage, and also 7th house of destruction, 7th house of death, that house is governed by Shiva. The Shiva within each person, he lives in that house. That is the abode of Shiva within you. Basically, that is your relationship, your marriage, your desires. Shiva will give you those desires. He will give you a marriage, but at the same time, he can also give you death. And if there are some cells within you that are dying, so that new cells can be born, again, that is governed by the 7th house, the Shiva within you. So Lagna and the 7th house, these are the abodes of Brahma and Shiva within you. And the stronger of those, that is where Narayana lives. Narayana is not necessarily with Shiva or not necessarily with Brahma. He is with the stronger of Brahma or Shiva. So the rule is, Narayana Dasha does not necessarily start from Brahma. It can start from Shiva also. So the progression of the Narayana Dasha, you start it either from Lagna or the 7th house, whichever is stronger. And when I say stronger, the first rule of judging the strength of two signs, if you want to compare two signs and see which is stronger, the first rule is, see the sign that has more planets. And Rahu and Ketu are included here. Take all the 9 planets, count how many planets are in each sign. Whichever sign has more planets, that will win. Suppose there is a tie. You have the same number of planets in both the signs. then the second rule applies. The second rule is look at conjunction or aspect from Mercury, Jupiter or the Lord of the sign. There are three important planets, Mercury, Jupiter and the Lord of the sign. See if any of those three are occupying that sign or aspecting that sign. When I say aspecting, I am talking about Rashi Drishti, the sign aspect. And when you do that, out of those three, maybe one sign is being aspected by one planet, occupied or aspected by one planet. The other one may be aspected or occupied by two planets. In that case, the sign that has a connection with two planets, that will win. Whichever sign has connection with more planets out of these three planets, that is the winner. Suppose there is a tie still. Then you go to the next rule. The next rule is, if there is an exalted planet in the sign, it will win. Of course, if both the signs have exalted planets, then again there is a tie. But if there is an exalted planet in one sign and no exalted planet in the other sign, it will win. That is the next rule. The rule after that is, I am telling you this rule, you may note it down, but even if you forget, it's not a big deal because software can do all this for you. But it doesn't hurt to know the rules. The next rule is, suppose you have a tie still. Then what you do is, you look at the oddity of the sign and oddity of the sign where the Lord is placed. See where the sign is and where the Lord is. For example, let me show it with an example. Here, suppose you want to see Pisces. Is Pisces an even sign or odd sign? Even sign. Note that fact. Now where is the Lord of Pisces? Who is the Lord of Pisces? Where is he? He is in Libra. Is it an odd sign or even sign?
Even odd sign.
Odd sign. So what you do is, look at the oddity of the sign and the planets on the Lord sign. The sign occupied by the Lord. If both are same, that is bad. If both are different, that is good. And if when you compare these two signs, if one has both being the same and the other has both being different, the one that has both being different will win. Does it make sense? So basically the bottom line here is, all signs, like I told you earlier, they encompass the male energy. The female signs, they encompass the female energy. Odd and even signs encompass male and female energy. That is the basic principle. So when you see the sign and its Lord, sign is the basic situation and the Lord is the intelligence driving the situation. Like I told you earlier, signs are physical environments. Rashis are just environments, circumstances. And the planets that own them, they are the driving factor, the engine that drives that particular matter. For example, if you are talking about my learning, there is a force that is driving my learning. There is my intelligence, or my guru's intelligence, or somebody else's intelligence, which is driving my learning process. So the driving engine, which is driving something, that is shown by the Lord of a house. And the house itself will show just the inanimate circumstances in which that particular thing is going on. So when you look at these inanimate and animate aspects, if one has female energy and other has male energy, it is considered auspicious because you have both the energies working together. On the other hand, if both are in male signs or both are in female signs, what it means is there is only one kind of energy. There is no yoga of the two kinds of energy. So it is less powerful. So that is the basic principle. So that is the next rule. And let us say you have a tie still. If you have a tie still, the next rule is, look at the degrees occupied by the last of the two signs. See where the lords are. Wherever they are, look at their degrees. See whichever lord is more advanced in his sign. Whoever has more degrees within his sign, that sign will win. Okay? Let us apply all these rules to see the strength of Gemini and Sagittarius here in this particular chart. The data is April 4, 1970.
You see all this in Rashi or only Rashi?
So far Rashi. The data is April 4, 1970, 5:47:08 p.m. Indian Standard Time, 81 East 8, 16 North 10, Machilipatnam, India. So, if you want to find Narayan Dasha here, actually you have to not Gemini and Sagittarius, but you have to look at Virgo and Pisces, because they are Lagna and 7th house. You have to see the stronger of those. But just for exercise, I want to look at Gemini and Sagittarius. Suppose Sagittarius was the Lagna, not Virgo. then you would be seeing the stronger of Sagittarius and Gemini. So I want to do that. Now what is the first rule? The number of planets occupying the sign. Which is occupied by more planets, Gemini or Sagittarius? Neither. Both are empty. So there is a tie. Now the second rule. Mercury, Jupiter and the Lord. Are they aspecting either sign? Now this sign, who aspects this sign? You remember the rule of Rashi Drishti? All the dual signs are aspected by other dual signs. So when you talk about planets occupying or aspecting this sign, you are basically talking about the four corners, the four dual signs. Right? If you look at the software, if you say highlight Rashi, aspected by this Rashi. See, these are the three signs that are aspected by this Rashi and that aspect this Rashi. The aspect is visible. Now, is Mercury in one of these signs? No. Is Jupiter in one of these signs? And who is the Lord of this sign? The third planet is Lord. If Mercury happens to be the Lord, you have to count him twice. If he is aspecting that sign, that counts as a count of 2 because he is Lord as well as Mercury. So here the Lord is Mercury. Is he aspecting? No. What is the count of this sign? 0. Out of the 3 planets, 0 planets are aspecting.
Argala on that side.
Argala we don't care here. Only Rashi Drishti.
That is permanent there.
And now look at Sagittarius. Again, is Jupiter aspecting it? No. Is Mercury aspecting it? No. Who is the Lord of this sign? Jupiter again. Is he aspecting it? No. So the count of both the signs is 0. So we have a tie still. What is the next rule? Somebody tell me. Exaltation. Is there any exalted planet here?
No.
Is there any exalted planet here in Sagittarius?
No.
No. So there is no resolution of the tie still. What is the next rule? Odd even. Oddity. Gemini, is it odd or even? Odd. Where is the Lord? Mercury. He is in another odd sign. So odd and odd. So that's not good. It's not good. It's weak. What about Sagittarius? Is it weak too or is it stronger? Sagittarius, is it odd or even? Odd. Never look. If one sign is odd, 7th from it will be odd always. So this is odd. Where is the Lord of that sign? Jupiter. He is in Libra. Another odd sign. So odd and odd. So we still don't have a resolution of the tie. So even after applying all the rules, we have a tie between Gemini and Sagittarius. So what is the final rule? The advancement of the Lords. Where is Mercury in Aries? He is at 3 degrees, 7 minutes. Where is Jupiter in Libra? 9 degrees, 45 minutes. Who wins? Jupiter wins. That means, which sign won? Sagittarius. So suppose somebody was born on this day with Sagittarius Lagna, his Narayana Dasha would start from Sagittarius. But now let us come to my chart. In my chart, it's not Sagittarius, it is Virgo that is rising. So where does Narayana Dasha start from? Why Pisces? It's stronger. Pisces and Virgo, these are the 2 signs. You have to see the stronger of the 2 signs. And Virgo has 0 planets. Lagna doesn't count as a planet. And Sun is in Pisces. So there is 1 planet. The count of 1 is greater than the count of 0. So Pisces wins. So my Narayana Dasha will start from Pisces. Okay? And now, once you start from Pisces, how do you go around the zodiac to find all the signs? For that, there are 3 kinds of progressions in Narayana Dasha. One progression is, we just go in the regular way. So that is, let's say, Aries, pardon me? Clockwise. It can be clockwise or anti-clockwise. That is a different matter. But basically go one sign after the other. If you start from Aries, for example, you could go as Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, etc. That is one way. That is the way for signs that are ruled by Brahma. Do you remember what are the signs ruled by Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva? I'm not talking about houses now. Brahma living in the 1st house and Shiva living in the 7th house. I'm talking about signs in the zodiac which are ruled by Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Does anybody remember? I don't know actually. Yes, mobile, fixed and dual. Mobile signs have energy in them. So they are ruled by Brahma. They have Rajasic energy. Mobile signs have Rajasic energy. So Brahma, who creates and who sets this whole creation into motion, he rules over mobile signs. And Shiva, he stops the motion. So Sthira Rasis, fixed signs, they are ruled by Shiva. And dual signs are ruled by Vishnu. So that is the rulership. So what you do is, if the sign where you are starting the dasha is a mobile sign, then you use Brahma's progression. Brahma's progression is simply take the sign, next sign, next sign, next sign, next sign, is basically the regular normal order. That is the order that Brahma is very comfortable with the natural order. And the order of Shiva is take the sign, take the 6 from it, 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 like that. Suppose somebody has, let's say, Leo Lagna. Is Leo a fixed sign? Yes, Leo is a fixed sign. Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius are the fixed signs. So, if Dashas were starting from Leo, you will go as Leo, then 6 from it. Capricorn, 6 from it. Gemini, 6 from it. Scorpio, 6 from it. Aries, 6 from it. Virgo, 6 from it. Aquarius, 6 from it. Cancer, 6 from it. Sagittarius, 6 from it. Taurus, 6 from it. Libra, 6 from it. Pisces, end of it. 6 from it would be Leo again. So, we have covered all the 12 signs. Starting from the sign where you started, you go to every 6 sign, and if you keep doing it, you will notice that you will not go into any sign twice. You will cover every sign one time, and at the end you will cover all the 12 signs. So this is the way you progress the dasha. If it was starting from a Shiva sign, this is Shiva's progression. And Vishnu's progression is, Vishnu is the Karaka for Dharma, he is the Devata of Dharma. So his progression is the Dharma Trikona. You start from Lagna, you go to 5th, 9th. You start from Lagna, you go to the 5th house, 9th house. When you are done, you go to the 10th house. So suppose we were starting from Virgo and going forward, let us say. So you go from Virgo to Capricorn, which is the 5th house. From that you go to Taurus, that is the 9th house. So Dharma Trikonas are over. Now you go to 10th house. You just move by one sign, go into Artha Trikonas. And now again, after this, go to the 5th house. After 10th house, go to the 2nd house. After that, go to the 6th house. So again, you are doing the 3 Trikonas. And then again jump, move by one sign.
Then from 10th, can you say again?
Yeah. From 10th, basically you covered the Dharma Trikona.
Yes.
Then you want to cover Artha Trikona. Then you want to cover Kama Trikona. And then you want to cover?
Just move shift by one and
Shift by one. Shift by one. So from 9th house, you shift by one and come to 10th house. And then go from there, go to the 5th and 9th from there.
okay, second.
And then, then jump to the next sign. And then again from there, go to from Pisces, go to Cancer and Scorpio. And then go to Sagittarius, finally Aries and Leo. So that is the progression. You go 1, 5th, 9th. And then you go to 10th. Again, taking that as 1, go 1, 5, 9. So that is the progression. You are covering in terms of Trikona. So this is the progression you use if the sign is in a Vishnu, if the sign is owned by Vishnu. So these are the 3 kinds of progressions. But there is one more trick. Whether you go forward or backward, both are possible. To go backward or forward is based on the 9th from the sign where you are starting the dasha. Suppose here we are starting the dasha from Pisces, right? So the rule is go to the 9th from it. See if it is odd or even. If it is odd, go forward. If it is even, go backward. So that is the rule.
Which one is this?
Pardon me?
Where is this rule in?
This rule is used for deciding whether you go forward or backward. I said you count either regularly or every 6 or twice, right? But you could count it backwards also. From Virgo, you can count the 5th house as Taurus, 9th house as Capricorn. Instead of going like this, you can go like this. Instead of going zodiacally, you can go anti-zodiacally also. So that is based on whether the 9th house from the dasha sign is odd or even. So here, for example, we decided that dashas will be starting from Pisces because it is stronger. Once you decide where the dashas are starting from, decide the progression. Is it Vishnu progression or Brahma progression or Shiva progression? Pisces is a Vishnu Rashi, it's a dual sign. So you should use Vishnu's progression, which is 1, 5, 9, 10, 2, 6, 7, 3, 11, 4, 8, 12. That is the progression. The Dharma Trikonas, Artha Trikonas, Kama Trikonas and Moksha Trikonas. But do you count it forward or backward? To see that, take the 9th from that sign. Because Pisces is the starting sign of the dasha, the 9th from Pisces is Scorpio. So go to Scorpio, see if it is odd or even. Is Scorpio odd or even here? It is even. Which means it's a female sign. So that means you go backward. You don't go forward. Had it been odd, then you will go forward. But because Scorpio is even, you go backward. So that means the dashas will be Pisces And then the fifth from Pisces counting backwards is Scorpio. And then the ninth from Pisces counting backwards is Cancer. So you see that Pisces Dasha is coming first, Cancer Dasha is coming next, Scorpio. Oh, why did it? What? Oh, sorry. Not odd or even. I made a mistake. Ninth house, whether you go forward or backward is not decided based on whether the ninth house from the Dasha sign is odd or even. But it is based on whether it is odd-footed or even-footed. I haven't computed this Dasha manually in a long time after I coded it in the software a few years back, so I made a mistake. Do you remember what odd-footed signs and even-footed signs are? The first three signs are odd-footed, and the next three signs are even-footed. The next three signs are odd-footed, the next three signs are even-footed. So Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. These are the odd-footed signs. So here you are not taking odd, even in terms of every sign. You are taking in terms of every three signs. These are basically the three foots, the three padas of Vishnu, which he uses to crush Balikatavati. Vishnu maintains dharma using 3 feet, 3 padas of Vishnu. So these are basically symbolic of the 3 padas of Vishnu, and you have 3 odd padas and then 3 even padas. 3 odd padas and 3 even padas. So here, if you look at Scorpio, the 9th house from Pisces, it is in an odd-footed sign. So because it is odd-footed, you go forward. You are confused, right?
No, I'm just looking. No.
Okay. Yeah, you sounded confused. Not sounded, you looked confused. So I thought, okay. Is everybody clear? How you...
Four houses or 3?
3 houses. These 3 are odd-footed. Aries, Taurus, Gemini. Again, Libra, Scorpio and Sagittarius. These are odd-footed. All others are even-footed. So what you do is, once you decide which sign is starting the Dasha, take the 9th from it. See if it is odd-footed or even-footed. If it is odd-footed, you will be doing all your counting forward. If it is even-footed, you will be doing all your counting backwards. So here, because Scorpio is odd-footed, we will be counting forward. So after Pisces, the 5th house from Pisces is Cancer. So Cancer Dasha will come. After that, the 5th from there, Scorpio will come. And then you jump to the next Trikona by going to the next sign. So Sagittarius Dasha comes. And then 5th from there, Aries Dasha will come. And then 5th from there, Leo Dasha will come. And then we covered the 3 Trikonas, Sagittarius, Aries and Leo. So you go to the next sign, Virgo. So Virgo Dasha came. And from there you go to the 5th house, Capricorn, 9th house, Taurus. And then that Trikona is also over. So you jump to the next sign, Gemini. And Libra, then Aquarius. You are done. All the 12 signs have been covered. So this is how you find the progression of the Dasha, the sequence of the Dasha. You find the 12 Rashis, the sequence. Once you find the sequence, yes.
Did I miss something here? We talked about Shiva's progression and Narayana progression. How about Brahma's progression? Is there something?
Yeah, there is Brahma's progression for mobile signs. That is the regular progression. If you start from Aries, it will go as Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. Just regular, normal, natural order. That is Brahma's order. But Vishnu's order is in terms of Dharma Trikonas, Sapta Trikonas. Shiva's order is 6, 6, 6. Trouble, give trouble, give trouble, give trouble, give trouble.
What's the rate of progression?
Pardon me?
What's the rate of progression?
The rate of progression? Yes. That's what I am coming to. So after deciding the sequence of the 12 signs, the next thing is, what is the length of each Dasha? When I say first Dasha is Pisces and the next Dasha is Cancer, next Dasha is Scorpio, how long is each Dasha? In Vimshottari Dasha, we have one Dasha being 7 years, one being 12 years, one being 20 years, one being 17 years, like that. Here, how do you find it? The rule here is, it is not hard-coded. It is not a fixed duration for each sign, unlike in the Vimshottari Dasha. In most Dashas, the length of each Dasha is fixed. Venus Dasha is 20 years, Sun Dasha is 6 years, like that. But in this particular Dasha, it changes from chart to chart. And the way you find that is, you count the number of houses from the sign to its lord. See where the sign is, see where the lord is. Start from the sign and count in the lord. Count how many houses are there. And your counting should include the sign as well as the sign containing the house lord, and at the end subtract 1. So that is the rule. And another important fact is, the counting will be forward or backward based on whether the sign is odd-footed or even-footed. It may be confusing. If we see a couple of examples, it will become crystal clear. So let us see the first Pisces Dasha, how long it will be. Okay. First you have to see if Pisces is odd-footed or even-footed. Odd-footed, even-footed. That means counting backwards. So from Pisces you count to Jupiter, its Lord, backwards. So from here Pisces you count up to Libra backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you subtract 1 from 6 you get 5. So the Dasha is 5 years. 1970 April 4 to 1975 April 4 or April 5. So this is how you find the Dasha length. Okay. In other words, yes.
Why did you take Shiva's progression in this case?
I did not take any progression now. The progression decided this particular order. Now I am not taking progression. I am taking where the sign is, where the Lord is. He may be in the 6th house, he may be in the 5th house. I don't care.
Okay.
I just count how many houses.
Okay.
Which house he is in. And I am counting backwards because this is an even square. So when you count the houses, subtract 1 from it, that is your Dasha length.
Okay.
Okay. In other words, you may also remember this as count but not including the sign. So from Pisces to Aquarius is 1 house, 2 houses, 3 houses, 4 houses, 5 houses. So that is how you get 5. So you can remember that way also. Okay. The exception is if the planet is exalted, you add 1 year to it. If the planet is debilitated, you subtract 1 year from the Dasha. For exaltation, add 1 year. For debilitation, subtract 1 year. That is one exception. Any house, wherever the planet is, if the planet is exalted or debilitated, when you count up to that planet, add 1 sign or subtract 1 sign. We'll do an example.
I mean the Lord of the house. The Lord of the planet.
Yeah, the Lord of the house should be exalted.
So in this case, if Jupiter was exalted.
Suppose Jupiter was in Capricorn. Okay? So Pisces Dasha, how long would it be? From Pisces if you count 1, 2, 3. 3 minus 1 is 2 years. But not 2. 2 minus 1 more 1. So it would have been just 1 year. Had Jupiter been in Cancer, Pisces Dasha would have normally been, he's in the 9th house from Pisces, right? Cancer is the 9th house from Pisces counting backwards. So normally it would have been 8 years. But it will be still 9 because you add 1 more to it. Okay?
Just one question. If the Jupiter was in Capricorn and it was retrograde,
we don't bother about retrogression here. He will give results akin to exaltation results, but as far as the Dasha is concerned, he is debilitated. Okay, that's a very good question. Now one more tricky thing is, had Jupiter been in Pisces itself, what will it be? One house, so 1 minus 1 is 0?
No, 1. I mean 1 year.
Why 1 year?
Because he's in his own house exalted.
Not exalted. That's not exaltation. Exaltation is in Cancer.
Okay.
Right? Own house is good. Okay, you will say 0, right? That's a very good guess. But the actual answer is 12 years. Basically 0 and 12 are analogous. The way you can remember this is, when you count, you are not counting from the sign itself, you are counting from the next sign. So when you start from Pisces, this is 1 house. 2 houses, 3 houses, 4 houses, 5 houses. So that is why Jupiter is giving 5 here. If you remember that way, if Jupiter was in Pisces, when you count, this will be 1 house, 2 houses, 3 houses, 4 houses, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if you count starting from the next sign, you go all the way and you come back to the sign to come to Jupiter. So it is actually all the 12 houses. That is why the count is 12. So you can remember it that way. When you count, the count is not inclusive of the sign, beginning sign. You count from the next sign, 1 house, 2 houses, like that. So if you remember like that, it will be clear. So these are the 3 exceptions. If the planet is in own sign, it is 12 years. If it is exalted, whatever count you get, add 1 to it. If it is debilitated, whatever count you got, subtract 1 to it. Okay? Now, let us say Mercury is in Virgo, and you want to see how long Virgo Dasha is. Here, Mercury is exalted in Virgo, right? And he is in own house also. But still, the rule is, it will be 12 years. The exaltation exception will apply if no other exceptions are applying. If there are 2 exceptions applying, which is planet in the own house and planet exalted, in own house exception will apply, and the exaltation thing will not apply. So if Mercury was in Virgo and you wanted to find how long Virgo Dasha was, the answer is 12 years, because Mercury is in own house. But when you find Gemini Dasha's length, it is different. The exaltation rule will apply. So let us find that. How long will Gemini Dasha be if Mercury was in Virgo? First you have to see whether you want to count backwards or forward. Is Gemini odd-footed or even-footed?
Odd-footed.
odd-footed. So you count forward. So from Gemini, if you count forward, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. So it would have normally been 3 years, but Mercury is exalted there. So it is 4 years. So if somebody has Mercury in Virgo, his Gemini Dasha will be 4 years and his Virgo Dasha will be 12 years. So let's check a couple of more calculations here and then we'll be done with the calculation.
You said don't count from that house itself, right? If Mercury you said was in
Virgo. Yeah. Okay, if you don't count from that house, okay? If you count from starting from Gemini, but the first house is Cancer.
Right.
Cancer is 1, Leo is 2, Virgo is 3. So, and you add 1. No.
Oh,
that minus 1 is basically if you start from the house itself, you do minus 1.
Okay.
If you start from the next house, you don't have to do minus 1. Okay. You could do either way, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Okay?
So maximum 12 years.
Maximum is 12 years. And minimum is 0 years. But the tricky thing is, after one whole cycle is over, the same dashas will repeat again. They will come back. And when they come back, whatever came in the first cycle, the remaining thing will come in the second cycle. In other words, take Pisces dasha here. How long is it? It is 5 years. So, but it could be 12 years. Only 5 years is coming now because of Jupiter's placement. So 7 years of Pisces dasha is not being experienced. It will come in the second cycle. When Pisces dasha comes again, after all the dashas are over, then it will come and it will be 7 years. So when you add the length of a dasha in the first cycle and second cycle, you will always get 12 years. So the total is 144 years. Even though most people don't live up to 144 years, the maximum supported by this dasha is 144 years. Okay? Now let us check one more calculation. Cancer. I want you to volunteer and go through the calculation.
Even footed.
Even footed.
So you have to go backward.
Okay.
Then
count up to Aquarius, which contains moon. Okay. So six house.
6 minus
1 is
6 minus 1 is 5.
So 5 years.
And
So
it's not exalted, so
yes, very good. Not exalted, not debilitated. So the answer is 5 years. 75 to 80 is Cancer dasha. The next one is Scorpio. Now the tricky thing. For Aquarius and Scorpio, there are 2 lords. Don't forget them. You may forget them for any other purpose, but not for Narayana dasha purpose. In Narayana does not have any bias towards Saturn and Mars. He is totally unbiased. So in Narayana dasha, Ketu, if he is stronger, he will count. Rahu, if he is stronger than Saturn, he will count. Now, who is stronger, Mars or Ketu? Mars is clearly stronger. He is the strongest planet in the chart. So definitely Mars will dominate. So now somebody else. Vijay. You.
Scorpio is even footed.
Why even footed?
Odd-footed.
Yes, Scorpio is odd-footed.
Yeah, we go forward.
Yeah. And you count from Scorpio to
Scorpio to
Mars. Which house is he in? 6th house. So 6 minus 1 is 5. Is he exalted or debilitated?
Mars is its own house.
Yeah.
Is not.
He is not exalted or debilitated. Now, because he is in one house, should we say 12 years? No. That is if he was in Scorpio. Not if he is in another one house. Okay. So the answer is 5 years. And the software shows 1980 to 1985. Okay. Now, somebody else will do the Sagittarius session. First check odd-footed or even-footed.
Odd-footed.
Okay, so you want to count forward?
Yes.
Okay. And count from Sagittarius to who?
Jupiter.
Why 5th? Who do you count till? Who is Lord of Sagittarius?
Oh, Jupiter.
So you count from Sagittarius all the way to Libra. So how many, which house is he in? 11th house. So minus 1 is? 10. So the dasha is, Sagittarius dasha is from 1985 to 1995.
That means debilitated.
Pardon me?
That
retrograde, not debilitation. For retrogression, there is no exception. Only for debilitation. Okay, now we'll come to a debilitation example. Let us check Capricorn dasha. Or let us check Aquarius dasha. Where is Aquarius dasha? It hasn't come yet. Okay. Aquarius dasha. Who will volunteer? Can you volunteer?
The Aquarius.
First check the Lord. Who is the Lord of Aquarius?
Saturn.
Saturn. Because he is with more planets.
Saturn and Rahu both.
There are two lords, Saturn and Rahu. So why do you take Saturn as the Lord and not Rahu?
Because he's the Lord of Aquarius.
But Rahu is also Lord of Aquarius. Saturn and Rahu are both lords of Aquarius.
Because it's the more degrees.
With more planets, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, he is with more planets. But actually what you should remember here is, suppose Rahu here was with 4 planets, and let us say Saturn was alone. Still Saturn would have been the Lord of Aquarius in this case, because the first rule, if you remember, for resolving the tie of Scorpio and Aquarius is, if one of the 2 lords of the house sign is in the sign itself, he will not count as the Lord. The other one will count as the Lord. So that is the first rule. The second rule is, if both of them were away from the house, then the second rule applies. The second rule is, count the number of planets associating with that planet. Saturn here is with 3 planets and Rahu is with only 1 planet. But we don't even come to that rule. The first rule itself, because Rahu is in the sign itself, the first rule eliminates Rahu. Saturn is right away. Had he been alone, still Saturn would have dominated. So Saturn is the Lord of Aquarius in this case. Now go ahead.
It's odd-footed.
Why odd-footed?
Even-footed.
Yes.
So you're going to go forward. Backwards.
Yes. So count from Aquarius backwards. Up to where?
Saturn.
Up to Saturn, Aries. So which house is that? Counting backwards?
You're going to be going back to
10. Don't confuse. You did 2 steps and you are confusing. First count the houses. Which house is he in?
you're going to go to 9 houses.
Why 9 houses? You are starting from Aquarius. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right?
Yeah.
So it's 11. 11. So subtract 1 from it. So it is 10. So is Saturn Dasha 10 years or have we missed something? What did you miss?
Debilitation.
Yes. So he's debilitated. So subtract 1 more year. So what is the answer? Final answer? How long is Saturn Dasha? Aquarius Dasha? 9 years. And that's what the software gives. 2052 to 2061. So this is how you use the exaltation and debilitation exception. At the end of everything, you say, oh, he's debilitated, so subtract 1 more year. Or, oh, he's exalted, so add 1 more year. So that is how you find the dasha. Okay? And we'll not do antardashas at this point of time. We'll do it after a few years. Sorry, not few years. A few classes.
Starting years with it.
So, now, yes.
So based on this Narayan Dasha, will you make predictions about how life and all that?
That's what I'm coming to now. So let's assume that, because first you have to know how to calculate. So now we know how to calculate this. And you can try a few examples. I know that all of you have the software, so you can do it in the software. The commercial version, as well as for those who are listening to the audio and don't have the commercial version, the light version also has Narayan Dasha of the Rasi chart. So everybody should be able to find the Narayan Dasha using the software. But it's not a bad idea to do it manually for a couple of charts and compare with the software to make sure that you understand the basics. And it can be helpful. Sometimes you may not have software with you and somebody may bring his chart to you, calculated by some Panditji in India, and ask you to make predictions. And if you want to compute Narayan Dasha, it's very easy. Compared to Vimshottari Dasha, Narayan Dasha is very easy to compute manually. You can just write 5775 and then you can write down the years and you know what Dasha is running from which year to which year. There are world astrologers who compute it just in a couple of minutes because it's not complicated as you have seen. You just systematically write down. If you have a small piece of paper, you can do it in like 2-3 minutes. It's not really complicated. So it's a good idea to have some exercise, get some experience into computing it. But from now onwards, I'm going to assume that you know how to compute this. And if you see any errors in the software, come and talk to me. Bring that example to the next class because there are a couple of exceptions that I haven't taught. So if you find those errors in the software, then I will tell you about those exceptions. Those 2 or 3 exceptions that I did not tell you right now. But except those, you know how to compute basically. But this is very complicated. Actually, there was a time when we had one whole day dedicated to Narayana Dasa competition in a workshop, and we have done it like half hour or 40 minutes. Yeah, we have done it in an hour here. So it's very complicated. There are so many steps here, so it's very easy to forget it if you don't exercise enough. So try to see a few examples, and then you will understand the computation. And now, from now onwards, I'm going to assume that you all know how to compute this, or you have access to a software that computes it, and I'm going to only talk about interpretation, because that is the interesting part. Calculations are interesting, but interpretation is what enables you to make predictions. Now, when you want to interpret this dasa, the first rule is, this is the change in lagna. This is the progress lagna. So take the Narayana Dasha sign as lagna and analyze the whole chart from it. So this way, each person gets 12 charts. There may be one natal chart, but there are 12 different charts, each working in a different dasha. So the person may behave like a different person, or the person may experience totally different fortune in each dasha, based on how planets are placed from the new lagna. But the only tricky part is, if dasha is starting from the 7th house, suppose take this example.
But
we did not. Yes.
Before we do that, what is the time when you will prefer this over other dashas that we went so far? That is,
It is up to you. This is not specific to any particular matter. There is no condition like for Disartha Samrasa. This is applicable to everybody. And if you are bothered about why somebody feels the way he feels, what somebody feels, how somebody is reacting to something that's happening in life, you better use Vimshottari Dasha. But if you want to understand, if you want to not be biased by something that somebody is telling you, if you want to understand the ground reality, then you use this Dasha.
So you can use this always.
You can use this always. Actually, there are astrologers who make predictions only using this, not even bothering about Vimshottari Dasha. And of course, there are other ways. People, it works the other way also. But this is Sanjay Ji's favorite Dasha. This is the favorite Dasha in our parampara. So you can use it. You can use it always. And the beautiful thing about Narayana Dasha is, you can compute it for each divisional chart. We will do that in a later class. But for each divisional chart, it gets its own Narayana Dasha. So using that, you can time things very precisely within that particular area of life. So you can, bottom line is, you can use this Dasha always. But another important thing is, you can actually combine it with Vimshottari Dasha. You can see what is happening in the Vimshottari. You can see what is happening in the Narayana. And if you are not sure based on one Dasha, using the other Dasha, you can look at the intersection time periods. When something good or something bad is indicated in both, you can predict more confidently if you are using two Dashas. So that is another practical use. Somebody said Narasimha Rao.
I just wanted to, before we go off on the rules, that you said the degrees occupied by the lords of the sign are different, then we will see which one is stronger. Suppose those two are equal. I mean, it's a rare case, so...
You wish they have more seconds.
Yeah, but theoretically, degrees, minutes, seconds, everything is the same. So that's your question. If just the degree is same, then you look at the minutes. If minutes are also same, you look at the seconds. But your question is, if it's the same, if it's exactly, the planets are exactly at the same point, it basically, no, it's possible, theoretically possible, but it usually doesn't happen in real charts. If it happens, then do research and let me know.
Probably the odd chart that's happening is very rare, right?
Yeah.
One in maybe 100.
Extremely rare, yeah, extremely rare. Because there will be at least 0.0001 second difference. It's exactly the same. I don't know. I don't know the rule. Perhaps there is a natural order of strength of the planets. There is a Naisargika strength basically. For example, Saturn is a weak planet. Sun is a strong planet. Like that there are Naisargika strengths. My guess is, if that really happens in a chart, probably you want to use the Naisargika Bala, which is inherent strength of the planet.
The other question I had is that when you said that you can do the Gurukrpa and Narayana Dasha and predict using two Dasha.
Yeah.
Suppose Gurukrpa Dasha gives you like 2007 to 2007, from 5 months.
Yeah.
Narayana Dasha gives you like 2000 September to, so when you take that gap like 5 to 10 months, you take it, or just both Dashas give an overlap of only 4 months.
Okay, so maybe the event is more likely to happen during those 4 months then.
Only 4 months.
Yeah.
Not
If you are expecting some important event in a 7-year-long Vimshottari Dasha, let us say, and if you seem to think that the same kind of good event is possible in the Narayana Dasha, let's say the Narayana Dasha is another 5 years Narayana Dasha, but let's say the overlap between the two Dashas is 1 year, maybe that is the year when that important thing will happen. So it doesn't mean that if there is a 7-year Vimshottari Dasha when a really good event in career is likely to happen. It doesn't happen over the whole period. It will suddenly happen in on one particular day. And you can time that better if you use Vimshottari Dasha and Narayana Dasha. Okay? So we'll see how to interpret it. But like I was saying, you take the Dasha sign as Lagna because this is nothing but the progression of the Lagna. They are starting from Lagna and going through the Zodiac. But the tricky thing is, we are not always starting from Lagna. Sometimes we are starting from the 7th house. So when we start from the 7th house, the Dasha sign is not the progression of Lagna. It is the progression of 7th house. This is the new 7th house. So that means if you want the new Lagna, the progress Lagna, what should you do? You should take the 7th from it. Right? So, see, for example, take my chart. Virgo is my Lagna and Pisces is my 7th house. And when you progress Pisces, right now I'm running Aries Dasha. From 1995 till 2007, I'm running Aries Dasha. That means my progress 7th house is in Aries. So where is my progress Lagna then? It should be in the 7th from Aries. It's in Libra. If the progress Lagna is in Libra, that means progress 7th house will be in Aries. So that is how you do it. So if you started Dashas from Lagna, the Dasha sign itself will be the new Lagna. But if you started Dashas from the 7th house, the Dasha sign will be the new 7th house. So the 7th from Dasha sign will be the new Lagna. So like this. So you see all the results from the 7th from the Dasha sign. That will be your new Lagna. Okay? So
You have to keep changing the Lagna.
yeah, you have to keep changing the Lagna. In every Dasha, you find the new Lagna in that Dasha. Take that particular sign as Lagna and analyze the whole chart. Then you will understand what is happening. For example, take, let's take somebody, not my example, let us take somebody's
For
example.
example, you are running the Aries Dasha now, so you take the Aries as the Lagna and
No, Aries is the 7th house. Because
the 7th house, so you take the
Libra.
as the Lagna
I take Tula, Libra as the Lagna,
and then
and then analyze what is happening. Who are influencing my Lagna right now? Who are influencing my intelligence right now? Who are influencing my desires right now? What kind of desires do I have right now? What kind of name do I have right now? What kind of work am I doing right now? So to look at all those things, you take that as the Lagna and find out what is happening. Okay?
so we don't take the house itself, what is being in the Dasha.
That also you do.
Okay.
That is the second thing. So for example, right now I am running Aries Dasha, right? That is the Dasha I am running right now.
How did we arrive at Aries as the Dasha?
Because I looked at the software, 1995 April to 2007 April is Aries Dasha. So I am running Aries Dasha right now. So one way of interpretation is take Aries itself. Which house is it in the Rashi chart? What are the planets influencing it? So that is one angle. There are 3 different angles in which you can interpret Narayana Dasha. And you have to mix all the 3 angles to get the complete result. The first angle is see the Dasha sign, how it is placed in the chart. For example, here Aries is the 8th house of working hard, the 8th house of occult knowledge, the 8th house of setback. That is what Aries stands for. It also has a Raj Yoga. Mercury and Venus, Dharma Karma Adhipati Yoga is in Aries. So when Aries Dasha comes, that Raj Yoga is likely to function. There is a Sarala Yoga. Mars in the 8th house being in one house. He gives Sarala Yoga. So that Sarala Yoga will also function during that particular Dasha. So during 1995 to 2007, the results of Dharma Karma Adhipati Yoga and Sarala Yoga will start to function. And because it is the 8th house, there will be a lot of focus on 8th house matters. Working hard, 8th house is also Tapasya, 8th house is, in this case, Dharma Karma Adhipati Yoga and occult knowledge. So all the focus will be on all those things. Basically, that is where Narayana is sitting. Aries is where Narayana is sitting for me right now. He is sitting with all these planets, Mercury, Mars, Venus and Saturn right now. He is sitting in my 8th house.
Yeah, but why are you considering that as 8th house From the Lagna.
From the natal Lagna.
Yeah, from the natal Lagna, but for this particular Dasha, you...
We'll do that later. There are, I said that there are three different angles. The first angle is, see where Narayana is placed. And if you want to do that from the progress Lagna, he will always be in the first or seventh house. Right? So what I want to do is, I want to do it from the natal Lagna. From natal Lagna where Narayana is.
Without computing Narayana Dasha at all?
No, after computing Narayana Dasha. After computing Narayana Dasha, I know that I am running Aries Dasha right now.
Okay.
So during Aries Dasha, what does it mean? My Narayana is in Aries. When I was born, my Narayana was in Pisces. Because my seventh house is stronger. So my Narayana is with my Shiva, not with my Brahma. And when I was born, he was in Pisces. When I became 5 years of age, my Narayana moved into Cancer. When I became 10 years of age, my Narayana moved into Scorpio. Okay? And when I became 15 years of age, in 1985, my Narayana moved into Sagittarius. He keeps moving every few years. So right now, my Narayana is in Aries. Now you see, when Narayana is in Aries, Narayana is the God. When he is in Aries, there is basically light in that particular house. There is a lot of power in that house. The power of Narayana is with that house. So whatever that house stands for, it has a very good chance of coming out, fructifying. So you see what those are. What are those? Which planets? Which yogas? Which house? So that is what you do. So that is, if you look from Lagna, that is 8th house of occult knowledge, of tapasya, of also working hard setbacks. So all these things are possible in this particular dasha. And the dharma karma, vidya yoga and sal yoga, like I said, can function. And occult knowledge can come.
So the first thing you are looking is, see where the present dasha house is from the natal Lagna.
From the natal Lagna.
Okay.
That is first angle. Now the second angle. What is the progress Lagna? Now forget Narayana. Now the fact that Narayana is in Aries means my progress Shiva is in Aries. So where is my progress Brahma? He is in Libra. My progress Lagna is in Libra. So take Libra as Lagna and see how the chart is. What is likely to happen? What are the influences on the 7th house? So there are strong desires during this dasha relating to Mercury, Venus, Mars and Saturn. Whatever they show in the chart, in those matters there is a strong desire. Why? Because they are in the 7th house now. 7th house from the new Lagna. Yes. So like that you see what are the desires now, what kind of karma the person does, etc. So this is second angle. And finally there is a third angle. The third angle is, you see there is a so-called Dasha Pravesha Chakra. Dasha Pravesha Chakra is also, in English it can be translated as period commencement chart. So when the period commences, exactly at that second, you can find the chart, you can cast a chart. In the software, if you want to do that, click on that particular Dasha for which you want the entry chart, and in the pop-up menu, select entry chart of this period. And for those who are listening to the audio, I apologize because this feature is only in the commercial version, but you can do it. You can look at the date and time given by the software, and in a new window you can make a chart for it, and you will get the period entry chart. But if I do it using the software here, the period entry chart, see basically this dasha started on April 5, 1995 at 3:25:40 AM. That is the time exactly when this particular dasha started for me, Aries dasha. So when the dasha started, see where various planets are. Okay? See where various planets are and see where the Lord of Aries is, how strong he is, how weak he is. So that will give you some clues on what is likely to happen during this dasha. Yes.
How did the Lagna move to just like...
This is the Lagna rising at that time, at my birthplace. Okay? When the particular dasha started, my progress Lagna came to Libra. But at that time, in my birthplace, Aquarius was rising. At that time, Venus and Saturn were in Kumbha. Mercury and Sun were in Pisces. So this is the planetary position. If somebody was born at that time, when this dasha started from me, it's like a new beginning for me. A new dasha is starting. At that time, if a small kid was born, if a baby was born in my birthplace, this is how his chart would be. And that would have a correlation to what happens in my dasha. The life of somebody who was born at that time, at my birthplace, will be correlated to the events in my dasha, during the dasha, whatever happens to me. So there is a correlation between the two. That is the basic idea. So you see these things, you see this dasha, you see this chart, and what you do here is you see what is the strength of the dasha sign. For example, take Aries. What are the influences on Aries and how is the Lord of Aries? That is the first thing you see in the period entry chart. That will give you additional clues. Look at Aries Lord. Aries Lord is Mars. He is debilitated in the 6th house. So is it good or bad? Why good?
No, 4th house, right? No, from Lagna it is.
From Lagna, from this Lagna, Aries is the 3rd house. His Lord Mars is debilitated. So this dasha is, if 3rd Lord is debilitated, that is good. If a Dusthana Lord is debilitated, it is good. But basically Mars is debilitated. The Lord of the sign is debilitated. That too in the 6th house of health. So during this dasha, I have to be careful about health. Health may not be perfect during this dasha. That is one indication that you have right away. Right? Now the second thing is, Ketu is in Aries. If Ketu is in Aries, what does it mean? See, basically at this chart, when this chart was active, I started a new phase in my life. And in that new phase, Narayana was in Aries. For me. So you want to see how strong Aries is, how strong his Lord is, and when that particular phase started in my life. So who are the planets influencing Aries? Who is in Aries? Only one planet, Ketu. So during this dasha, Ketu will be a very important planet. Whatever Ketu stands for in my natal chart, it will become prominent in that particular dasha. Ketu stands for astrology, Vedic knowledge, etc. So from 1995 till 2007, the Vedic knowledge, the moksha, spirituality, all these things that Ketu stands for, they become prominent in my life. Okay? And actually there is another important use. You have
To take Rasi aspects,
yes, Rasi aspect.
Tapasvi, Yoga, and
So there are several other planets who are aspecting it. If you see the planets aspecting it, you have Venus, Saturn and Jupiter having Rasi aspect. So they will also dominate during this particular dasha. But I am giving more importance to the planet which is right there. And another thing is I didn't teach you Antardashas. But you can find Antardashas within the sign, within the dasha. In Aries dasha, there are 12 Antardashas. So if you look at all these different Antardashas, what you can do is, you can correlate with which yogas are happening in this period entry chart. And so suppose take Moon here. Moon is exalted in a Kendra. Right? Is he exalted in a Kendra? Yes. So, which house is Moon in? He is in Taurus. So look at Taurus Antardasha. When Taurus Antardasha within Aries Dasha comes, between 1996 April till 1997 April, during this particular Antardasha, the results of Taurus will come. And in the period entry chart, Taurus has an exalted planet, that too exalted moon. And it is the 4th house of peace and happiness. So that particular Antardasha will be a period of peace and happiness. Okay? And Mars is debilitated in the 6th house of health here. And Mars is in Cancer. When the Cancer Antardasha comes in 1998 to 1999, it's not such a good period in health. Okay? And if you want to judge the Antardashas, you can do it using the natal chart also. But what I am saying is, this is the another angle. Using the period entry chart, using this, you can judge the Antardashas very well. This actually works better than the natal chart. So, how will be Scorpio Dasha? Scorpio Antardasha. 2002 to 2003. Can somebody tell me how will Scorpio Dasha be? Who are the planets in Scorpio in the period entry chart? You have Jupiter, the second lord Jupiter, occupying the 10th house in the chart. So he shows a lot of astrological activity, etc. A lot of predictions. So during Scorpio Dasha, during the Dasha of Scorpio between 2002 and 2003, astrological activities become very prominent. And teaching also, yes, because Jupiter does stand for teaching. And now look at Aquarius Dasha, which is Aquarius Antardasha, which is about to start.
no.
How will Aquarius Dasha be? Is Aquarius a good sign or bad sign in this particular period entry chart? It's a very good sign. It's Lagna. and it has Tapasya Yoga as well as it has
Venus and
Venus and Saturn. The 4th and 9th Lord, the Yoga Karaka Venus is there in a friendly sign, and the Lagna Lord is there in Mula Trikona. So there is a yoga between Lagna Lord, 9th Lord and 4th Lord. So there is a Raj Yoga there. So when you see a Raj Yoga or Duryoga, a bad combination or a good combination in the period entry chart, directly go to the Antardasha of that particular sign. When that Antardasha comes, that is more likely to fructify than in other Antardashas. So the year that is about to start in a few more months will be a very good year for me. It will be from me. Yeah. So the year that is going to start on April 2005, that particular 1 year period, which is the Aquarius Antardasha in Aries Dasha, that will be a very good Antardasha. So like this, you can make the Dasha, you can make the period entry chart, and correlate the yogas, combinations in the period entry chart with the Antardasha, and identify important Antardashas when important events take place. So that is the third angle. So the first angle is see where Narayana is, what are the combinations in the natal chart that are being activated by the Narayana. That is first angle. And the second angle is take the progress Lagna, see houses from that progress Lagna. And the third angle is look at the period entry chart and see the combinations in the period entry chart. And that is particularly important when judging Antardashas. Okay? Now, let us do some examples, because doing practical examples is how we learn. The basic principles are the same, but if you do more examples, you will understand it better. So, any volunteers to give their chart? Okay. Give me the data. November 11, 1965. 7:57 a.m. p.m. Okay. 1957. Okay.
Doesn't have the place of birth, so I did
Approximate nearby. For me, actually, can you give an approximate place nearby?
You can say Narsapur.
Narsapur should be there.
The placement is Maruteri, but it's not there.
Placement is
Maruteri, Ranjay or
nearby village.
okay. What are the locations? What is the longitude and latitude?
84 East 48,
84 east.
48,
Okay.
16 North 34,
16 north.
34.
Okay.
Niradaolu is nearby, right? Niradaolu is nearby.
Okay, that's okay. I'll just enter the latitude and longitude that you gave. Okay. Can I have your name? Vijay. What is the last name? Skyla. Okay. Oh, you have Jupiter in Lagna. Okay. Now let us directly go to Narayana Dasha, and let's just rely on the software and assume that the calculations are accurate. Let's not do it manually. The Dasha is starting from Sagittarius. Why? Why is the Dasha starting from Sagittarius? Why not from Gemini?
Because 7th house is 2 planets.
7th house is 2 planets, and Lagna has only 1 planet. So you start from 7th house. So remember that here we started from the 7th house. So Narayana is in the 7th house. So if you want the progress Lagna, you have to take the 7th from Narayana. Just remember that. Okay. Now.
Currently,
Okay.
Gemini.
So, do you want to judge the Dasha that is running right now? Okay. Let us judge the Dasha that is running right now. Or why don't we look at something in the past so that we can correlate the events. And then we can look at the current Dasha. Okay. When did it happen? 1970? Before November, right? Okay. Okay. So let us see the Dasha running in 1970. So in 1970, 1970, what Dasha is she running?
Why did you ask before November in 70? Because this.
Then Dasha will change to Leo.
No,
Oh, okay, it doesn't. But right. I don't know why I asked. Okay. So if you look at the Dasha, the Narayana in the first 6 years of her life was in Sagittarius. The Narayana was in Sagittarius. Okay. Now, which planets are in Sagittarius? Venus and Mars. Yeah. And what would you say based on that?
11th Lord and
Who is 11th Lord? Mars, yeah?
Mars is both 11th as well as 6th Lord in
Uh-huh.
2nd and 12th Lord in Mars.
Uh-huh. And what house is it from Lagna and what house is it from Aruha Lagna? Basically, Narayana during those 6 years is with Venus and Mars. And Venus is the 5th Lord, 5th and 12th Lord. Mars is the 6th and 11th Lord. So, of course, she was too small then, but Narayana is encouraging or activating the 5th and 6th houses, also 11th house. So, what do those things stand for? 5th house is basically abilities, etc., recognition, etc. And 6th house is fighting, obstacles, etc. So those are what Narayana is blessing. So a lot of obstacles will be given, but at the same time, lot of Venus is also there. But who will dominate? Venus or Mars there? Mars will dominate. Why did you say that? He's in friend sign, exactly. Venus is in an enemy sign. It is Jupiter's sign, Sagittarius. On the other hand, Mars is in a friend sign. So naturally, Mars will dominate Venus. So, one thing you can say is, when Narayana is with those two planets and encouraging them, the one who will get more encouragement is Mars. And he is the 6th and 11th Lord. So, he is basically a papi. He is a functional malefic for this Lagna. So, a functional malefic is basically getting Narayana's blessings. He is with Narayana. He is being activated by Narayana. So, this is a period of obstacles, etc.
Should it be 5th and 12th Lord, Mars?
No. Mars owns Aries and Scorpio.
Yeah. So where it is the 5th?
Oh, you are looking from Sagittarius? No, I am looking from Lagna. When you see how Narayana is, which house he is in, what he is blessing, etc., you look from the natal Lagna. And when we come to progress Lagna, still it is not Sagittarius. It will be Gemini only. We will come to that. It is not Sagittarius either way. So, if you count from Sagittarius, it will be 5th and 12th. But we are counting from Gemini. Okay. Now, that is one angle. So, this is overall, if you are making a prediction, if you want to predict whether this is a great period or this is a period of some difficulty, what would be your first conclusion? This can't be conclusive. You have to look at other factors. But the first conclusion based on the first angle is, this is a little bit difficult period. Mars is not really too bad. He is in a friendly sign, Sagittarius. But still, he is a papa. He is a papi. He is a functional malefic for this Lagna. So overall, this is a period of some obstacles and some difficulty.
Some desires also, right?
Some what?
That's the 7th house.
Yes.
It's something to do with her desires. Will be taken care by Narayana or something like that. Right?
Yes. Narayana is in the house of desire. Yes. Now, the second thing is, the second angle is, now you take the progress Lagna. But of course, when you are starting your life, the actual Lagna will itself be the progress Lagna. So Gemini itself is the progress Lagna. That is because you are starting from the 7th house. So even though Narayana is in Sagittarius, Brahma is still in Gemini. He is in Lagna. So in the first 6 years of her life, it is basically Gemini itself becomes Lagna. So you take Gemini as Lagna, and then you judge what will happen during that particular period. And yes, pardon me?
It will be the same, right? Now, even the second one will concentrate on the same thing what we saw in the first one.
Right, but the difference here is you are not focused on Venus and Mars. You are focused on Gemini, and you see how various signs are. you take the second house. If you take the second house from Gemini, the second house is the house of family, and that Lord of that house is in the 12th house of Lord, and he is with Rahu. He is eclipsed with Rahu. So overall, but the thing is, whatever conclusions we draw here are applicable to the whole life, but they will be particularly experienced in that particular dasha. So one thing that you can see is some loss of family or some difficulty, some problem relating to family. You see Sun or Moon afflicted by Rahu or Ketu in any chart. Whatever house they own, that house will have some suffering. Because any planet, Rahu and Ketu will destroy any planet, but particularly Sun and Moon. They hate Sun and Moon. So here, Moon is being eclipsed by Rahu, and Moon is the second lord, the family of house. The house of family. So there is some issue with the family there that you can directly see. And whether she is adopted or not is very difficult to see from this. Without looking at the Dvadashamsa chart, it is very difficult to see. And that you can't really time using Rashi Narayan Dasha. You have to look at the Dvadashamsa chart. The Dvadashamsa chart has to have some combination, some weaknesses for somebody to be adopted, for somebody to be away from the happiness of physical father and physical mother. There have to be serious deficiencies in the Dvadashamsa Lagna. Dvadashamsa should have a strong 8th house, etc. And here if you see, the Dvadashamsa has Leo Lagna, and Sun is in the Lagna, right?
You have to change the dasha for this Dvadashamsa?
Yes, I'm not judging the dasha now. Apart from the dasha, I'm just checking how the Dvadashamsa is, why she was adopted. Okay, I'm not doing it through this particular dasha. I'm just doing it in general, natally. So here, Lagna is containing Sun, but who is Sun with? The 6th and 8th lord. Saturn and Jupiter. Even though Jupiter is a friend of Sun, he is also the 8th lord. And even though Jupiter is 5th and 8th lord, which house is stronger, 5th or 8th? 8th house is much stronger. So Jupiter will act more like the 8th lord. So the 8th lord is in Lagna, afflicting the Lagna lord, and Saturn is there. Saturn is a serious enemy of Sun. So the Lagna is afflicted. When Dvadashamsa Lagna is afflicted, it shows some problems in the relationship with father and mother. With this chart, usually parental relationships will be bad. But it can also mean that she will miss them, she will be away from them. That is tough to see. You can't say that with certainty by looking at the Dvadashamsa. There may be some principles, but I am not familiar with those. But looking at this, you can conclude that there is some problem. And look at Moon. Moon is the weakest planet here. He is in Manakaraka Sthana. Moon is in the 8th house. And that too, he is with Ketu. He is on the Rahu-Ketu axis. If Moon is with Rahu or Ketu, or if Moon is in the 8th house, it is really bad. It shows basically problem with mother, very, very rough relationship with mother, or mother passing away very early in life. It shows some problem relating to mother when you see Moon in the 8th house in Dvadashamsa. So when such a person comes to you, you can ask them, do you have a good relationship with your mother, or are there any problems? 90% of the time they will tell you either mother has passed away long back, or there is a problem with mother, there is a troubled relationship with mother. So looking at this, you see afflictions to both Sun and Moon. Sun is basically father and Moon is mother. You see afflictions to both the houses, both the planets, both the Karakas. And Moon is in the 8th house.
Fourth house is mother, right?
4th house is mother, yes.
So that Mars is in
Yes.
house.
Yes. 4th house is mother. If you want to see what happens to mother, that is what you see. But what I am saying is, apart from how the 4th house is, if the Karaka of mother and Karaka of father are weak by themselves, that shows some basic problem. Because they are the significators, Sun and Moon. But now if you ask me, how do I see my adopted mother and adopted father in the chart? I am not really sure. We have to do some research. The Karakas for mother and father are Sun and Moon. And another important thing is, you don't necessarily always see the 4th house from Lagna. Sometimes you can see the 4th from Moon also. If Moon is much stronger than Lagna, you see the 4th from Moon for mother. Similarly, if Sun is stronger than Lagna, you see the 9th from Sun rather than 9th from Lagna in Dvadashamsa to see father. So that is what Parashara taught, strictly speaking. And here anyway Lagna is strong, so you don't have that problem.
What
But
are the principles to check
I don't know. I wasn't taught any principles, so you can extend what you know in other areas to this area. Now the thing is, my thinking on this is, the Karaka for mother and father are moon and sun. But those are the physical father and physical mother. Basically Shiva and Parvati. Sun and moon stand for Shiva and Parvati, from whom creation takes place. And if there is an adoption, I'm thinking that there may be other Karakas, which we don't know of. Maybe Shani or some other planets may stand for mother and father in the case of adoption. I have to dig in the classics and see if there is any reference to Karakas for adopted parents. But I don't really know any principles. So I wouldn't be able to say something about your father and mother looking at this chart, adopted mother and father. But there may be some principles. We can do some research on that. We can see, if you know their lives, see if 4th from Saturn makes any sense or 9th from Saturn makes any sense. We can do some experiments. But going back to the Dasha, one thing you can say is that there can be some problem, some family, either family fiction or some deficiency in the family, because the second lord moon is in the 12th house, that too with Rahu. So that is what you can say. And adoption you can't say with certainty, but let us look at the Antardasha. Before looking at the Antardasha, let us look at the entry chart. So if you look at the entry chart of this Dasha, of course that will be the birth chart itself. So we don't really need to cast the chart. We can just refer to the birth chart to see the entry chart, because this is the very first Dasha in life. The first Dasha entered when she was born. So let us look at when were you adopted? Do you know?
1970.
Yeah, you said 70 already, but is it before May 10 or between May 10 and November 12? Before May. So it was Aquarius. Okay. So during Aquarius Dasha, she was adopted. Can anybody make any sense of it?
9th house of Saturn.
9th house of father, 9th house of protection. And I was just now saying that who is the Karaka for adoption? I don't know about adopted mother and father. To see the adopted mother and father in the Dvadashamsa, I don't really know. But in general, for adoption, Saturn is the planet.
Because opposite to Sun.
Yeah, it's opposite to Sun. Yes. And he was basically, Saturn was rejected by Sun. His mother and father did not take good care of him. He was basically a rejected child. So he likes rejected children. If there is a rejected child somewhere, Saturn likes them. So Saturn stands for adopting a child and not taking care of a rejected child. In general, Saturn stands for rejected people, not just adopted children, but people who are downtrodden, rejected people. Those are who Saturn likes. It is they who have Saturn's blessings. Of course, for that reason, people don't like having Saturn's blessings, but that's a different matter. But Saturn is the planet who signifies adoption, signifies Dattata. And here, Saturn is a very good planet. He is the 9th lord in the 9th house. 9th is basically, like we said earlier, Lakshmi Sthana. 5th and 9th houses are the houses that show when and how and from where Lakshmi's blessings come from. These are the blessings of Sri Mahalakshmi. So that 9th house, it is the fortune, it is the blessing from Lakshmi, and Saturn is there. So that adoption, being accepted by somebody else, that can come in the Antardasha that contains Saturn. So Aquarius Antardasha between November 1969 till 1970 May, there is a pretty good chance. So this is how you would look at Dashas and Antardashas, and you can go further down also, but my advice is don't. When judging Pratyanta Dasha, there are more complicated rules that are very tough to understand. So it's a very good idea to just look at Dasha and Antardasha and Narayan Dasha and just see the phases. If you want detailed predictions, use Tithi Ashtotri, the Tithi Pravesh chart, the annual chart. And even Vimshotri works well when you go up to Dehanta Dasha level. But Narayan Dasha has some deficiencies. It has to be completely understood. Now let us see her current Dasha.
Gemini.
Her current Dasha is, by the way, when were you married? Don't remember? Usually it is men who don't remember. Usually men don't remember, but women say, Immediately. 1987 when?
November 27.
Okay. So 87, November 27, she was married. Okay?
1987.
Yeah. 1987. Okay. Okay. Now, in Aries Dasha, she was married. In Aries Dasha, she was married. First, in Aries Dasha, where is Narayana?
In Aries.
He is in Aries. So, what is that house? It is 11th house.
11th.
Of gains,
Right.
fulfillment of desires.
No. Aries Dasha, Narayana will be in the 7th from Aries.
No. Narayana is in the Dasha sign itself.
That's why it is.
But the Lagna will maybe in the 7th house from Narayana. So in Aries Dasha, Narayana is in Aries. Shiva is in Aries. Narayana and Shiva are together in this chart, remember. Shiva and Narayana are in Aries. But Brahma is in Libra. Okay? The Dasha sign is a progression of 7th house here. The Dasha, Narayana Dasha is a progression of the 7th house. And Narayana is in the 7th house in her chart because 7th house is stronger. So Narayana Dasha is a progression of Narayana. So wherever Narayana Dasha is at a point of time, Narayana will be there. Okay? But you are not there. The Brahma within you is not there. The Brahma within you is in the 7th house. So that will be the progress Lagna. Okay? So Narayana is in Aries. So blessings of Narayana are showered on the 11th house of material gains and also fulfillment of desires. 7th house is desires, but 11th house is fulfillment of those. So during Aries Dasha, there will be fulfillment of desires. And also Arudha Lagna is there, which means the status, the image, the material things will also be taken care of in that Dasha. There will be status basically building up during that Dasha. That is the first conclusion that you can draw based on the first angle that I mentioned. Now go to the second angle. In the second angle, what you said becomes right. Now you want the progress Lagna. For that, it's not Aries, it is Libra. Take Libra as Lagna and analyze. Analyze how this particular Dasha is. If you do that, during this Dasha, is there any chance of marriage?
Ninth Lord is in
Ninth Lord is in?
3rd house.
Who is Ninth Lord in 3rd house? Ninth Lord Mercury is in 3rd house.
8th Lord.
Yeah, 8th Lord is in 3rd house, that's okay. But what are the houses for marriage? First house is you and 7th house is your partner, spouse. So there has to be some correlation between them. Who is the Lagna Lord? If you take Libra as Lagna, who is the Lagna Lord?
7th Lord are together in 3rd house.
Yes, that's a good point. Lagna Lord Venus and 7th Lord Mars are together in the 3rd house, another Kama Trikona. So when Lagna Lord and 7th Lord are together, when there is some kind of connection between them, during that Dasha, you can meet people, and of course you can meet your husband. If in such a Dasha and Antardasha, usually people get married. And if not marriage, at least there will be some important connections building up, meeting some important people. Okay? So in Aries Dasha, she got married based on this principle. Now let us look at the Antardasha. Oops, what happened? Okay, which Antardasha did she get married in? What is the Antardasha that brought marriage? Libra, right?
Yeah.
She got married in 87, between 87 July and 88 March. That is Libra Antardasha. In Aries Dasha, Libra Antardasha, she got married. Okay? And if you see this particular thing, if you see the Dasha Pravesa Chakra, the period entry chart, here, what is Libra? Libra is the 7th house. But just because it is 7th house, it can't give marriage. There has to be a strength there. There has to be a yoga there. Either Venus has to be there, or 7th Lord has to be connected, or 9th Lord has to be connected. There has to be some strength in that house. Just because it is the 7th house, don't think, oh, it makes sense.
Parivartana.
There is a parivartana. So that Mercury will act as if he is Venus. Mercury and Venus in the Dasha Pravesa Chakra, Aries is rising and Mercury and Sun are in Libra, and Venus is with Jupiter and Saturn in the 6th house. Now, Venus will act as if he is Mercury and Mercury will act as if he is Venus. So, practically, in the 7th house, you have a conjunction of Venus and Sun. Sun is the fifth lord and Venus is the seventh lord. So fifth and seventh lord conjunction is a Raja Yoga. So because of the Parivartana, you get the effect of a Raja Yoga. The two between fifth lord of love, emotions, and the seventh lord of relationships. So because of that reason, this particular Antardasha can certainly bring the marriage. And it indeed happened from the date that she gave. It happened in that particular Antardasha. And now you can look at Vimshotri Dasha and you can find the Pratyanta Dasha, you can find the 2 months or 3 months when it is likely to happen. And you can look at the Tithi Pravesha chart, you can look at the Tithi Astotri Dasha, and you can find the month or couple of months when it is likely to happen. But using Narayan Dasha, you can't go further. Using Narayan Dasha, you can only say in this year or in the 6 months, like that. You have a bigger granularity. You don't have a fine granularity, but you can be more confident basically. With a bigger granularity, but with more confidence. That is basically the hallmark of Narayan Dasha.
What about using a Sahim on that?
Using what?
Sahim.
Sahams, okay.
Wouldn't that pinpoint the time better?
Maybe or may not be. I don't have experience. It is a good idea to do research into this, definitely. You can find the natal Sahamas and see the correlation with the progression. You can also find the Sahamas from the progress Lagna. You can progress the Lagna, for example in Aries Dasha, Lagna is in Libra we said. So progress it to the longitude of the Lagna in Gemini. Lagna is, where is it here in Gemini? It is at 6 degrees 8 minutes, 6 degrees 9 minutes. So take Lagna in 6 degrees 9 minutes in Libra and find the new Sahamas. And see if there are any links between those. For example, Vivaha Sahamam. See any link between the Sahamas there and either the natural planets or the Dasha Pravesha planets. See if there are any correlations. My gut feeling is there may be. I haven't really done any experiments, but it's a very good topic for research. So try that. Sahamam, we have used it a few times. If you go here,
yeah, I remember.
The Sahamas,
Yeah.
so you have this Punya Sahamam, which is basically, which shows your good deeds. Vidya Sahamam, it shows your learning. So these are significant points in the zodiac that are relevant for various matters. And these are particularly important when judging annual charts.
There are 2 Sahamams, right? Natal and regular Sahamam.
Natal and?
2 Sahamams and
Yeah. If you are looking at the natal chart, both will be the same. See, I'll click this, you will get the same thing. But if you are looking at the annual chart, like Tithi Pravesh chart, if you do Sahamas in the software, you will get for the annual chart. For whatever chart is right now displayed, for that you will get it. And if you click natal Sahamas, then you will get natal chart. Okay. Every year, these are computed based on the longitudes of Lagna and other planets. So as these longitudes keep changing, the Sahamas also keep changing. Okay. Okay. Now let us see, we saw a couple of events. We saw the Antardashas, we saw the Dasha and Antardasha, and now let us see the current Dasha, and I want the class to make some predictions to her. Okay? So right now she is running Gemini Dasha. So where is Narayana? Narayana is in Gemini. So what are the planets being blessed by Narayana? What are the houses being blessed by Narayana? The house is Lagna. Her very existence is being blessed by Narayana. Is it good or bad? Good. It is of course good. And which is the planet being activated by Narayana right now? Jupiter. Jupiter is the 7th and 10th lord, marriage, career, and more importantly, the planet of Dharma and intelligence. When Jupiter is in Lagna, no Mahapurusha Yoga, but still Jupiter in Lagna is always a great blessing. Jupiter is Lagna is at 6 degrees, Jupiter is at 7 degrees. Wow, he is very close. Somehow I thought he was close. I just wanted to check that. They are very close. When you have Jupiter on your Lagna, that too very closely, that is a very good blessing. Because Jupiter is the significator of Dharma and also Dhishakti, intelligence. He is the significance of the inner intelligence. He is the internal Guru. And when he is closely conjoined with your Lagna, the inner Guru is very close to your very existence. The inner Guru is guiding you very strongly. It's a very good blessing to have in a chart. If you see anybody with Jupiter in Lagna, usually they are very dharmic. Of course, there will be exceptions. But usually,
why she's learning astrology now?
could be. Basically, Jupiter and Ketu are the planets for learning astrology, for learning any traditional knowledge. And when Narayana is with them, basically that particular Karakatva will prosper. Whatever Jupiter stands for, in terms of ownership, in terms of occupying houses, or in terms of significations, those things will basically flourish during this Narayana Dasha. Okay? Yeah.
It's a Gemini Dasha, right?
Yeah.
Now, why would Jupiter be the, what do you call it, for Narayana Dasha? We are using Jupiter in this.
It is in the house. Jupiter is
Because he is in Gemini.
Oh, I mean,
So the first rule, the first way, the first method is, see where the Dasha is, Narayana is there right now. So which house is it? Which planet is there? They will basically be activated by Narayana. When Narayana is there, it's a powerful energy. So all the power is going to Jupiter's matters, is going to Lagna's matters. So they will basically prosper. So that is the first thing that you see. Actually, what I said is not right. It's not prospering. I take it back. Wherever Narayana is, it doesn't mean those things will prosper. It means you will put lot of effort into those things. That is a better way of saying it. Because, you will put lot of energy there. Because, like I said earlier, there is a difference between Narayana and Lakshmi. Narayana is effort. Lakshmi is fruits of the effort. You will get the blessings only with Lakshmi. And there is another Dasha called Sudasha. That Dasha will show where Lakshmi is sitting right now in your chart. When you are born, she sits in a place called Sri Lagna. There is a Lagna called Sri Lagna. You will see SL in the chart. That is Sri Lagna. That is where Lakshmi will be sitting when you are born. And she will keep traveling with time. And wherever Lakshmi is sitting at a particular point of time, that is where the blessings will come. That is where the easy things will come. That is where the fruits will be experienced. But where Narayana is, that is where all your efforts will go. All your energy will go. So Narayana is effort and Lakshmi is fruits. Remember that. That's a very important point. Don't think that Narayana will make you rich or Narayana will give you this, give that. Narayana will make you do things, which is the most important thing as far as Narayana is concerned. But the mother is more compassionate. She will give you whatever you want. Narayana wants you to work, not get fruits. He wants you to work. That is what Narayana prefers. Now let us look at her current, second principle. The second method is, take the progress Lagna and judge the chart. See any important yogas. So what is the progress Lagna in Gemini Dasha? Sagittarius. Very good. Because we started the Dashas from the 7th house, the 7th from the Dasha house will be the progress Lagna. So Gemini is the current Dasha, it is the progressed 7th house. So Sagittarius will be the Lagna. So during this period, this is the Lagna. So first thing, what are the strong desires right now? Does she have strong desires relating to which planet? Does she want to have lot of power in this period?
No.
See, when you come to a Dasha that contains Sun in the 7th house, you will be hungry for power. Of course, if your natal chart doesn't show a power-hungry person, you may not be that power-hungry, but within the limits of whatever the natal chart shows, within that particular Dasha, your power-hungriness will be at a peak. So whenever you come to a Dasha where from the progress Lagna, Sun is in the 7th house, you become power-hungry. That is a basic principle. You see that in charts. For example, there was a gentleman. We had Sri Jagannath Center registered as Sri Jagannath Vedic Center, SJVC, long back. And one person was given all this responsibility. And later, Sanjay ji told another person to take over these things because it was going slowly. And the original person became so mad that he just destroyed the whole thing. He took possession of the website. He hacked the website. They changed the password, but he hacked the website. He took control over the whole thing. He took control over SJVC name so that instead of confronting with him and taking him to court, Sanjay ji took the easy way out by changing the name to SJC, Sri Jagannath Center. He dropped the Vedic there in the name. So if you look at the Dasha that person was running, he's a spiritual person. He is from ISKCON, the International Sri Krishna Consciousness. He's a Yugoslavian person born in Yugoslavia and somewhere in Croatia, I think. He came to India. He became an Indian citizen. He lived in New Delhi at the ISKCON temple. He's a spiritual person, but he became so power hungry that he wanted to be the He wanted to be the number one person in the organization. When somebody else was given that responsibility, he was basically hell-bent on destroying the whole thing rather than give away control. And if you look at the archives of Vedic astrology Yahoo group, you will see a lot of mails relating to this. I think in 2002 or so, 2001, October. So he had exalted sun in the 7th house from the Dasha sign at that time. You do see it in a lot of charts. If you see a political leader who comes to a Dasha where sun is in the 7th house from Dasha sign, from the Dasha Lagna, progress Lagna, that person will do anything during that time to get power. There will be a lot of hunger for power. All the efforts will be focused on power. So here, she is not power hungry. She is not hungry about anything. She is hungry about dharmic things, intellectual things, Jupiter basically. Whatever Jupiter stands for, there will be a strong desire in those matters. Of course, because Jupiter is the 7th lord in the natal chart also, that kind of desire will be there inherently. All the time. Because if you take Gemini's Lagna, Sagittarius, owned by Jupiter, is the 7th house. So those desires will always be there, but during this Dasha, they will be really prominent, because Jupiter is directly sitting in the 7th house. So that is her desire. Now,
Is Mercury at all?
for me,
Should we take the 7th?
yeah, you can take Mercury also, wherever the 7th lord is, because 7th lord is the intelligence behind the desire. The desire is in a dharmic area because Jupiter is there. But 7th lord Mercury, where is he?
The 12th house, which is
7th lord Mercury is in the 12th house with Ketu. He is in the 12th house with 12th lord Ketu, with 12th Karaka Ketu. So because of that reason, will her desires be focused on moksha?
Yes.
Absolutely. If you see the 7th lord in the 11th house, 7th lord in the 12th house with 12th lord and Ketu, not all, even if some of them happen, you can conclude that that person will be strongly desirous of moksha in that particular dasha. Here all the things have happened. So since 2001, November, her desire for moksha will become more prominent, very prominent. That doesn't mean she will get moksha, but there will be a strong desire in that time. Now,
that means the 12th house of giving.
yeah,
What does that mean?
Desires are losing. I mean,
yeah.
The
7th lord is in the 12th house. 7th lord of desire is in the 12th house.
which means you are losing all the desires and
So basically the process of overcoming desires will be strong during that time. Yes, absolutely. If the 7th lord is in 11th, for example, there will be desires and the person will be getting the desires. But if the 7th lord is in 12th, in a dusthana from 7th, there will be basically some overcoming of the desires.
or she will be interested, definitely in such a way of teaching area or something like that.
Spiritual.
Possible, but more like spiritual.
Yeah.
Because he's with Ketu. Ketu is a really dominant planet there. But another thing is, from the progress Lagna, if you see all the houses, is there any house that really stands out? The 12th house. The 12th house has Ketu in one sign, so it really stands out. Right? So what you see is, when you see the progress Lagna, suppose Lagna was not here, suppose her natal chart has Lagna here, would you have immediately said that it would be a very spiritual person?
No.
Why? Ketu is in the 12th house.
you would.
If Ketu is in the 12th house, you would say that the person is very spiritual, very interested in moksha. And even though it does not happen in her natal chart, it happens in the current chart. From the current progress Lagna, it happens. So the first thing that your eyes should fall on is Ketu and Mercury in the 12th house. So if you say that from 2001, she will become very spiritual. The spirituality will increase. From the point of view of spirituality, this will be more or less like the peak of her life, this particular 5-year Antardasha. And now, Venus and Mars are in Lagna. Is it good or bad? Any opinions? Venus and Mars in Lagna.
And that will have
5th Lord and 6th Lord together. 11th Lord and 12th Lord together.
5th Lord, 6th Lord together is also some yoga, right?
It's not a yoga, it's a bad yoga.
everybody's are having obstacles.
It shows some obstacles. 5th house is 5th house shows children, and if the 5th Lord is with 6th Lord, it can show some obstacles to children. Some obstacles in having children, or some obstacles to children. Can show some problems relating to children. If the fifth lord is with the sixth lord. But if you look at the Saptansha, you can be more confident. But just looking at the Rasi chart, it shows some obstacles relating to children, some disappointments relating to children. If the fifth lord is with the Kendra lord, that is good. That's a Raj Yoga. But if the fifth lord is with the Dusthana lord, it is bad. Especially sixth is Maraka from fifth. So if the fifth lord is in Lagna, that shows that whatever is in Lagna, your focus is that. So because the fifth lord is there is some focus on children. Either you want to get children in that period, or you have children and you want to spend more time, you are more concerned about them. Your energy will go towards children. You will be obsessed with children during that period. What? Okay. You will be obsessed with children because, or let's say seventh lord is in Lagna. You will be obsessed with spouse. If the ninth lord is in Lagna, you will be focused on your father. Some important events with father will take place. In this particular dasha, fifth lord is in Lagna. So there will be some focus on children, but that fifth lord is not good there. By himself he is good there. He is in friendly house. So fifth lord Lagna is a very good placement. Such a person will be dedicated to children and take good care of children. Of course, in your case, it's not always in this dasha. So in this dasha, you will take good care of your children. You will be obsessed with your children and take good care. But Venus is spoiling there. So there is some issue there, some problem. So either health of children or something else relating to children can be bothering you during this time. So that is what you say based on Venus and Mars. And also Venus is the sixth lord. If the sixth lord is in Lagna, it is not good for health also. So she is in the middle of this dasha, but if she came to you before this dasha, you can tell her during this dasha there can be some health problems. So pray to Lakshmi or pray to Lalita. Why Lalita? Because the sixth house has Moon and Rahu combination. So not only is the sixth lord afflicting Lagna, but the sixth house is also a little bit weak. So when Moon and Rahu are in the sixth house, there can be some health problems. Health may not be really perfect during this time. But the thing is, Lagna is strong. Venus is spoiling it. The sixth lord is spoiling it, but Jupiter is aspecting it. Jupiter is the Lagna lord. When Jupiter is Lagna lord and he is aspecting Lagna, he is protecting the health. Health will not be, there will not be serious problems, but the presence of this Grahana, eclipse of moon by Rahu in the sixth house of health, and the presence of sixth lord Venus in Lagna, a Dusthana lord in Lagna, it does not show smooth health. It shows some problems in the health, especially relating to moon or relating to Venus. Whatever moon shows, for example, blood, etc., moon shows those, and Venus shows kidneys, etc., kidneys and uterus, all those things. So relating to those areas, there can be some problem in health. So if the person comes to you, tell them to, before this dasha starts, tell them to pray to Venus and moon, or to Mahalakshmi or Parvati or Lalita Devi. And then that will alleviate the troubles to a large extent. So that is how you can prescribe the remedies based on Narayan Dasha, the current
You
level.
also deal with things very confidently and courageously because
Yeah.
third lord Saturn is in third house.
Yes. The third lord Saturn is in the third house. That is a blessing. Third lord Saturn in third is a blessing for as far as material things are concerned. As far as confidence, as far as getting what you want is concerned. In general, if you look at her natal lagna, the third lord Sun is debilitated. So her confidence is, when it comes to confidence, third lord will give the initiative, right? When the planet is debilitated, it shows patience. Her confidence or her initiative is basically her patience. She has a lot of initiative, but it's not really fiery. It's not fiery. It is basically very subdued. If you see the third lord debilitated, such people are not very confident. They don't look confident, but they have a lot of inner strength. Because debilitation, like I told you earlier, is akin to female, is the female energy. Exaltation is the male energy and debilitation is female energy. Debilitation shows patience, being able to persist, perseverance. So that is what the debilitation shows. If the third house is the house of initiative. If the third lord is in debilitation, such people are very confident, but they don't come across as confident. They are very persistent. They are very patient. They can patiently pursue something and get something done when they want to get something done. But when people look at them, they don't come across as confident people. It seems like they are not confident. There.
Who will overrule in this case? The third from the natal or third from the...
Third from natal is who she is. And third from this lagna is who she is right now. So this will overrule right now, but within the limits of the natal chart. If the natal chart shows somebody who is not very, very bold, if this chart shows somebody who is bold, she's not going to be bold, but she's going to be bolder than usual. Compared to the other dashas, in this dasha, she will be more brave, she will have more initiative, and she will be more strong-willed basically, compared to other dashas. But not, if somebody who has Saturn in the third in natal chart as well as right now, that person will be really, really bold. She's not like that. This is more subdued basically. So the way you should remember is, natal chart sets the maximum and minimum. It sets the limits within which things can happen. And this dasha will show within those limits how things are swinging within those acceptable limits. Okay. So that is how you see. You take that as lagna, you judge all the combinations and focus on the important combinations. And finally, to give the results of individual antardashas, like I said, you can use the natal chart, but you get better results by using entry chart. So let us go to entry chart. So, what dasha is she running right now? She is running Capricorn. She was running Sagittarius antardasha. In the last from 2004 May till 2004 October, that is the time when you started learning astrology, right? So during that time, she was running Sagittarius antardasha in Gemini dasha. And now how is Sagittarius? In the period entry chart? Good, bad later, but what is it? Which house is it? Fifth house, containing fourth lord of learning Ketu, exalted there. Ketu is exalted in the sign of Sagittarius. So fourth lord is there, so learning, and it is the fifth house, so a lot of scholarship. And Ketu, so what kind of scholarship? Could be astrology, could be Vedas, some Vedic knowledge basically. And usually Ketu shows traditional knowledge coming from a parampara, coming from a series of gurus and shishyas. Unlike other planets can also show knowledge, but Ketu is the planet for parampara knowledge. So all the knowledge that we have been learning here in this, from me in these classes, this is not my research. I may share some of my research also, but most of it is coming from the parampara. It is coming from Achyutananda to his student, and to Jagannathji, Kasinathji, Sanjayji, and from him to me, and from me is coming to you. So when something like that happens in your life, there has to be some indication. So here, Ketu being there in the fifth house, exalted, being the fourth lord, it makes perfect sense. Okay? So during this antardasha, she started learning astrology. It makes beautiful sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
Now,
Did you pick the chart?
oh, very good. Good. In any case, we are only dealing with Rashi so far. So, see, half hour and 1.5 hours camp we have in the Dasha Pravesh Chakra. We are dealing with the Rashi chart so far. In this particular Dasha, whatever we have done today, we have done only Rashi chart. So this is, again, if you make predictions based on only Rashi chart, they are not likely to be perfect. So this will just give you various phases. During these 5 months, this is likely to happen. In somebody else's case, it may not be astrology. It may be something else shown by Ketu. So there is a lot of variance possible. It's not really fixed. If you want fixed results, you have to go to divisional charts. And of course, you can use Narayana Dasha in divisional charts also. We'll do that in a later class. We are doing only Rashi so far. So you don't have to worry about rectification. As long as you know your birth time within 10 minutes, that is sufficient as far as this technique is concerned. You will be able to make reasonable predictions with an approximate time using this particular technique. Okay? So now, any readings into the current dasha? Sagittarius is what started the astrological learning, and now she is learning Capricorn dasha. First of all, is Capricorn a good dasha or bad dasha?
Not good.
Why not good?
Sixth house.
But sixth house with Mars. For Mars, what are the houses that are good? For Mars, Saturn, Rahu and Ketu, what are the houses? 3, 6, not all Dusthanas actually, not 8 and 12. 3, 6 and 11. The 3 houses, 3, 6 and 11. These are the only houses that are good for Saturn, Mars, Rahu and Ketu. So he is in one of those houses. But more importantly, what is his agenda? Is Mars a good planet for this Lagna? He is the 4th and 9th Lord. That means he is a
Yoga Karaka.
Yogakaraka. He is the fourth lord, a quadrant lord. He is the ninth lord, a trine lord. So he is a Yogakaraka. Mars is a Yogakaraka for Leo Lagna, that is rising in the period entry chart.
And he is in the...
And he is exalted.
And he is in the 6th house overcoming the obstacles.
Yes, he is in the 6th house of overcoming obstacles. And Mars in the 6th house is good because he has that energy to overcome obstacles. And he is Yogakaraka. He has a good agenda. And he is making you overcome those obstacles for a good cause. Because his agenda is dharma and properties or happiness, etc. And he is exalted. Yogakaraka exalted is always good. Yes.
The question is a planet in the 6th house means causes the obstacles or overcomes obstacles?
Overcoming the obstacles.
So any planet in the 6th house means...
But the thing is, as a process of overcoming obstacles, it may have to create some, if you don't have any. So, compared to the previous Antardasha, when Ketu was there, it was the 5th house, things come very easily, because this is the 6th house. In this Antardasha, from October till March, there will be some obstacles, but things will be positive. Even though there are obstacles, she will be working hard to overcome those obstacles, and there will be a lot of progress. But things will come with more difficulty. When the sthanas are involved, things will come with difficulty. But things will come, because it's Yogakaraka exalted. And
Here, take for example the Mars is in the Debilitator, which is in the Cancer, let's say.
yeah,
Then this still is the Yogakaraka, right?
yeah,
So the results will be not as good as it is in the Capricorn.
yes, absolutely.
So
If Yogakaraka is debilitated, it weakens him.
it weakens,
Yeah,
even though it's a Yogakaraka.
even though it's Yogakaraka. And especially if the Yogakaraka was in the 12th house, she would basically be giving away things in that time. It will not be bringing her anything. But here, she's in the 6th house. 6th house is Artha Trikona. So she will be overcoming some obstacles and getting some benefit because of it.
But during this period, 3rd house and 11th house are also important with multiple planets in them, right?
Yes.
Because 3rd house with Lagna Lord in it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Venus in its own.
Yes. But the problem with 3rd house is it has Venus there in one house, but it also has debilitated Lagna Lord. If any sign has debilitated Lagna Lord, it is not so good. So it is a very mixed period. If you look at Libra Antardasha, 2003 July to 2003 December, it's a mixed period. There are very strong influences both on the positive and negative side. But let us go to the next Dasha. After Capricorn, next Antardasha of Aquarius, which will start in March and go on till August. What can you say about Aquarius? It is the 7th house of husband, of relationships, and its Lord. Where is its Lord? Its Lord, there are 2 Lords, one in the house of gains, one in the house of profession, 10th and 11th. So the 2 Lords are placed well, and it is a Kendra. So it will be a good Dasha, and they can be focused on husband, they can be focused on relationships, and they can be focused on gains and work. But it's a good period for work or making any gains. So that is a good Antardasha. But what do you say about Pisces Antardasha, which is going to come in August and go on till next January? What can you say about that Antardasha? Is it good or bad? It is the 8th house. In general, 8th house is not good. It's a Dusthana. It shows working hard, setbacks, shocks, etc. And its Lord Jupiter, where is he?
He's in 11th house
He is 11th house of gains, fine, but
with Rahu.
who is he with? He is with Rahu. If Jupiter is with Rahu, it is not good. Jupiter being with Rahu, he is totally unhappy there with Rahu. Rahu is like a big villain and Jupiter is like a priest. You send a priest and a villain into one room, the priest doesn't even know how to fight. He doesn't want to fight. He doesn't even want to fight. So he will take all the blows given by the villain. So for that reason, this Antardasha is not so good. But at the same time, this is 8th house of occult knowledge. And the Lord is in the 11th house. He is learning occult knowledge. So, if Jupiter can overcome Rahu, this can give good results relating to occult knowledge. But there can be some setbacks. So, as far as learning occult knowledge is concerned, Sagittarius was a good Antardasha. You would have learned a lot. And Pisces Antardasha, you will learn a lot again, in my judgment. But you have to watch out. There can be some setbacks, some problems there. So she has to watch out during that period. How will Aries Antardasha be? How will Aries Antardasha be? Pardon me? It is 9th house. 9th house is Lakshmi's blessings and its Lord is exalted. You don't have to look any further. It will be a glorious Antardasha. So in Aries Antardasha, there will be good fortune. There will be, things will come very easily. So that's a very auspicious period for her. So if you want to do anything, see if you are, the way you should use this is, if you are thinking of taking a risk in your career or something, identify a good Antardasha and do it then. It is better than choosing a bad Antardasha and taking the risk then. You are basically fueling the bad trend by taking further risk. So you can time your decisions based on this. And like I said earlier, this is strictly using the Rashi chart. You use the Rashi chart for interpreting this. So this is not a very fine technique. Somebody who was born 10 minutes before her or 15 minutes after her would probably have the same dashas and same analysis, same results. So it's not really perfect, but it will tell you at a very macro level what is good, what is bad, what kind of results can be expected when. It will give you a good picture, good high-level picture. This is for good high-level picture. And what we have been doing so far, using the divisional charts, using Vimshotri Dasha, that is, we have been starting with high-level picture and going all the way into the low-level picture. But this one is strictly high-level picture, but a very good high-level picture. As you saw in all the examples that we saw, you would get what you would normally expect. Things would just fall into place like a puzzle. So this works beautifully, but should be used only for very high-level things, not for very. If somebody asks, I'm expecting a job offer, will I get it this week or next week? You better use Sthiti Pravesht for that, not Narayan Dasha. Okay? But there is a Narayan Dasha which is fine-tuned for each divisional chart. There is a Narayan Dasha for Navamsa. There is a Narayan Dasha for Siddhamsa. There is a Narayan Dasha for Dashamsa. For each divisional chart, there is a Narayan Dasha. Using it, you can find the phases in life relating to that area of life: learning, career, money, marriage, etc. So for each area of life, you can find those phases. So that we will do in the next class, and that again, that gives only high-level phases, but it's more focused. It is basically for you because it's looking at your divisional charts. It's not for everybody born 15 minutes this way or that way. It is for you, but it is giving only high-level phases. Because if you look at the Antardashas here, what is the length of each Antardasha? 5 months. So all you can say is during these 5 months, there will be some difficulty. During these 5 months, you will get a lot of knowledge from your parampara. During these 5 months, you will have to worry, you may worry about your children like that. After that, within those 5 months, how do you go further? Further, use animal charts or use Vimshotri Dasha. Okay? Use Narayan Dasha only up to Antardasha. But it gives very good results. And sometimes, even if you have a fine technique that lets you look at fine things, if you don't have a good high-level picture, you will go wrong. Because high-level is what constrains the low-level. Just because there is a great Rajoga in the low-level chart, it doesn't mean something great will happen that day. If the high-level picture doesn't permit that, it may not happen. So look at Narayan Dasha for the high-level picture and other techniques that we have learned so far for all the low-level analysis. Then you can be successful as an astrologer. Okay? So with that I will end for today. We will continue the discussion on Narayan Dasha in the next class. We will have the next class at the same time, same place. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.